Welcome to the SAMPS podcast, bringing you advice and insights from sales and marketing professionals in life science.
Hello everyone, this is Harrison Wright with SAMPS, that is serving sales and marketing professionals in scientific research. I'm here also with Gina Mullane, who is Corporate Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer with Charles River Laboratories. Now on the 18th of June, SAMPS will be holding a conference in Gothenburg in Sweden, and Gina will be presenting a talk entitled Capturing New Customers with Integrated Marketing Campaigns that Use Storytelling in a New Way. Now, Gina, I'm going to read from the abstract of your talk for just a moment. It says here, by sharing the story of Evie, a young girl born with a rare bone disease, Charles River Laboratories celebrated a network of scientists, clinicians, and researchers who worked tirelessly on life-changing drug discovery and development, and not only overcame general skepticism, but also challenged myths about the pharma-CRO collaboration today. This really intrigues me for two reasons. I mean, one, it sounds like a fantastic story anyway, but the point I really want to hone in on here is this is the kind of marketing campaign you typically expect to find in the B2C arena. It seems to me like you've broken the mold in quite a substantial way and had a lot of success as a result. Could you share some insight on this for us?
Sure. Yeah, it really was a different approach for us to take. We had certainly never gone down the path of the video campaign for Evie. And I think what started it all off for us was some really deep conversations as to why some of our campaigns weren't resonating and why the great information we were putting out there really wasn't getting picked up at the level that we were hoping. And so taking a step back, we realized that customers are not changing hats when they go to their day job. They're still consumers, and they still engage with all types of media in the same way that they do in their life outside of work. So they don't want to be sold to differently. They don't want to buy differently. And they don't want to necessarily be marketed to differently. And so something that would make more sense for an approach for us. So looking at this campaign and the story of Evie, it's very different. It does not talk about us. It doesn't talk about our products and services, what makes us better, what makes us different. It focuses on the story of Evie and her challenges that she faced and the people that came together to develop a life-saving drug for her. And the video really is a wonderful story of how she has grown and how the drug has really helped her to become the person she is today. So putting a lens on it from a B2C standpoint, we decided that it had to all be about Evie and the people that helped to bring the drug forward. So the researchers, the scientists, the lab technicians, all of those folks behind the scenes are the stars of the video, not our products and services. What this did was take people's guard down, and they weren't apprehensive about what was happening. What are they going to try to sell me? I'm not sure I'm going to be interested in need this. Instead, they just sat back and enjoyed the story. And as a result of that, we got a higher level of engagement than we ever expected.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because if you think about the B2C world, you imagine a commercial for perfume or cars. In perfume, it's what they tell you about in the story. It's never about the perfume. With cars, it's rarely about the car. Occasionally it is, but mostly it's about something else that the prospective customer might imagine they'll get, or the person they'll become if they have that car or use that perfume. And yet, in the B2B world, we've definitely come a long, long way since the old days of the ultra dull corporate marketing that doesn't interest anybody. But rarely would you ever find someone applying that insight in this way.
Yeah, I agree. It really blown away by the impact that it had because people listened, people shared, people were engaging, and the impact was greater than we had even predicted it would be.
Yeah, I can absolutely imagine. It's just, I like that it taps into that identity side of things, because if you look at this without having had a conversation with you, you could imagine, oh, that's really intriguing. But I'm curious as to how it works. What makes this work? But now that explaining things a little more, I can see that something like this would make people feel good about the work that they do every day and do, which is it's something I imagine they don't get very often from their boss.
Well, some of the feedback we did get was as people watched the videos, they could see themselves in the role of the researchers and scientists. And it is very powerful when you see the impact of the work that you do every day. Sometimes it's a grind and you're faced with challenges that just seem overwhelming, but to see the impact that it can have on a patient's life, their family, it kind of changes your perspective. And so we got feedback from many of our customers who wanted to share it with their teams and share the story because it was so powerful in underscoring how important it is, the work that we do every day.
Phenomenal. So beyond the story and to the results, what kind of measurable outcomes has this had for Charles River Laboratories?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, it has been really impactful. And focusing on storytelling in general is something I think that we apply in our marketing and sales and marketing approach. We know that 5% of people will remember a stat or information that you give them, some data, but the impact when you tell a story, it jumps to 63%. So I think we've typically utilized storytelling as a vehicle when we're providing marketing messaging. Give an example. Tell us a case study of a similar customer who had this challenge and they overcame it. And we have seen good outcomes with using storytelling as a vehicle. But when we applied it in this manner with the Evie story, focused 100% on the patient, not on us, the impact has been really incredible. With Evie and Ginger, we've had over 2 million engagements, 2 million video engagements. And in our world, those are big numbers because, again, we're not B2C, we're B2B. And I think a lot of that was driven by the core of the story and the stars of the story and the brilliance in which the story was told. But I think a really important part of that was the social sharing part of it, in which we aligned ourselves with two important charities that benefited both Ginger, who was the star of our first video, and Evie. And by sharing the video, forwarding it along to someone, all of those engagements resulted in a donation on our behalf to the charity. And so there was a strong social purpose aligned with the story that you just watched. And I think that really helped for people to dive in and watch it and let more people know about it. We weren't trying to sell them anything, and instead we promised to give on their behalf. And I think that really was impactful.
Fantastic. You know, there's so much we could dive into here, and this could easily become a much longer conversation. But if I was going to pick one thing as a learning point here, it's an often quoted bit of advice. Oh, you need to tell stories in your marketing. One of those things a lot of people don't necessarily actually do, but let's say they did go down that route. I think the biggest learning point here is stories don't need to be about or even tie to or have a direct connection with your products or your services. They need to be something that is relatable and impacts your audience in a big way, regardless of whether it has any connection to what you do. Would you agree with that, Gina?
Yeah, I think there's room for both. I think you employing storytelling as a vehicle in your traditional customer buying journey is important. And I think probably most people feel that that's a lot more impactful than just kind of listing off what you do. But I think once in a while, taking a different approach and using storytelling in a different way, outside of the box, and I don't know, considering a channel that you haven't taken before can result in some good outcomes. An easy decision for us. It's costly to do these things. It's time consuming. And you don't want to, in the end, not be able to measure the results. And that's really an important part of this. We needed to measure the results and know that the impact to our brand and the engagement with our customers was a very positive one. So to your point, I am a big fan of storytelling. I love it. I am always looking for the story in everything that we do. And sometimes taking a little bit of a different approach on storytelling can also yield some really tremendous outcomes.
Definitely. Well, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing your talk, Gina.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Looking forward to being there.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, we hope you're looking forward to it as well. It's going to be, as I mentioned at the beginning, on the 18th of June in Gothenburg. You can see Gina's abstract online, and you can actually register online as well. And you can find that page at sampssoc.org. I'll spell that for you. It's SAMPS, S-A-M for mother, P-S, SOC, S-O-C, sampssoc.org. We hope to see you there on the 18th of June. Thanks, everybody.
To get more from SAMPS, visit www.sampssoc.org.